Hello and welcome to the Bedroom Studios podcast, the podcast where we talk about what goes on behind the scenes in a musician's world and bridge the industry gap by bringing their stories, expertise, and advice to early career artists. Subscribe to join us for a fun chat about life as a creative person, tips and tricks for pursuing an artistic career, navigating the music industry, and more. I am your host, Emma, and today I will be interviewing the amazing Nicole Haber. Nicole Haber is a rising electro-pop artist from Toronto, Canada, whose audience massively expanded throughout 2022, reaching more than 500,000 listeners worldwide and accumulating over 1.7 million streams across all platforms. Nicole has worked with an array of international DJs, producers, and artists as a vocalist and songwriter. Some of these collaborators include Ryan Worsley, award-winning Juno-nominated producer, Baker Grace, a multi-million streamed recording artist, and Setou Senyo, highly successful and sought-after deep house DJ producer duo. The artist is known for their quirky, spot-on, relatable lyrics and high-energy dance pop production, which Nicole showcased while performing at Toronto's 2023 Pride Festival. Nicole is currently working on a full-length album and hopes to show fans an authentic, bold, badass side that has been dying to be unleashed. The artist's single, Bitch, I'm His Boyfriend, perfectly represents their new artistic direction. I'm so happy to have you here.
Heck yeah! Me too. Killed it.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
Crushed it. Hey man, dude, it's hard to say words.
It really is. But I luckily I get to chop it up.
Yo, that's
and
it.
Edit out.
Yeah. You get to like make it your own, and that's the nice thing about these. Like there's a saying in music where it's like they'll fix it in post.
Yes.
They'll always fix it. It's fine.
It should be the tagline for the podcast.
Yeah.
Bedroom Studios podcast. We fix it in post.
Fix it in post. It's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes.
It's all good.
For those listening, I had multiple takes of this intro.
It's fine.
I'm doing a new thing,
Mm-hmm.
even though this is like the 5th episode of the season, so it's not a new thing anymore, but it feels like a new thing.
Yeah.
We're going to listen to your song on the podcast. Would you like to introduce your song?
Yeah, so this song is called Bitch, I'm His Boyfriend, by yours truly. This song is kind of a newer genre and a newer era for me. I kind of decided I wanted to go more into the world of like old school Pink, Avril Lavigne, but yet bring in Olivia Rodrigo and all that. So this one's a little bit harder. Everyone's always very confused by the title, because why? Bitch, I'm his boyfriend. I'm gender fluid, so that's why. There's a longer story to that, which if we get into questions on the song, I will talk about later. But yeah, so I'm gender fluid, so it was kind of just like a bitch, I'm his boyfriend, but I'm also his girlfriend. So
I love that.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's listen to it.
Okay, here we go.
Feels like I'm in a movie. This shit's all high school drama. Stop acting like you know me. Pity party with your small town drama. She changes her mind like some toxic strategy, quoting all my lines. I'll take that as flattery. Flatter me. You're still in love with my boyfriend. Bitch, I'm his boyfriend. Girl, we're not gonna be friends, 'cause I'm his girlfriend and you're the enemy. Respectfully, baby, you're the enemy. Stop trying to beat me. You say that I'm the bad guy. I'm problematic and I'm ruining your life. Gold digger with a big price, but goddamn blood's boiling big time. She changes her mind like some toxic strategy, quoting all my lines. I'll take that as flattery. Flatter me. You're still in love with my boyfriend. Bitch, I'm his boyfriend. Girl, we're not gonna be friends, 'cause I'm his girlfriend and you're the enemy. Respectfully, baby, you're the enemy. Stop trying to beat me. 1 second you're fine, then you're snapping out, you can't stand me. It's like you lose your mind.
Yeah, my song.
You gotta be able to clap.
Absolutely. I still listen to some of my music and just go, I wrote that. That's really good.
Yeah, as you should.
Yeah.
It is really good. Thank you. Okay, so we were talking about the lyrics beforehand. I want to continue that conversation.
Yeah. So basically, like, it was a play on words because, so if I'm getting honest, when I wrote the song, I wrote it a very long time ago when my partner had an ex that was just, like, really unbearable. Very unbearable. And they used to always say, like, go talk to your boyfriend. And she would always call me his boyfriend when I was just like, dude, I'm gender fluid. And, like, I am very much, like, I go by he, she, and they. I don't care what you call me as long as you don't use it derogatory. I don't care. And any time that they would address me, it was very derogatory. And I was just like, and then I was writing this song with my producer and Lexi J from Featurette. And she's like, what if you just said, like, bitch, I'm his boyfriend? Because, like, she calls it to you, like, she says it all the time. Why don't you say it? And then my producer, Ryan, was just like, you should also say that you're also his girlfriend. So, like, you cover all the bases. And we just kind of laughed about it. And I was like, that's hilarious because it's funny when my friends come up to me and they're like, I'm singing it. And, like, half of it I shouldn't be singing because I'm not his boyfriend. But I'm also, it's just, like, confusing. And I don't know how to feel about it. I was like, that's honestly, like, where I was. And I was just like, you don't have to be a specific gender to sing it. You just gotta sing it loud and proud, right? So, yeah, it was an interesting concept. And honestly, it just it rolls off the tongue really well. Like, bitch, I'm his really boyfriend. Like, it's just like that, like, absolute F you mic drop.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a fun title.
It is. And it's a fun song.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
great.
That too.
Yeah. What else can you tell us about the songwriting process or, like, any other parts?
So this actually wasn't supposed to happen. This song wasn't even supposed to be a thing. I swore to myself I'd never write about this situation because I was like, it's personal. I don't want to make a big deal about it. Like, that person we have to interact with still. So it's like, I didn't want to be a dick, you know? I didn't want to be a bitch and, like, come up with that kind of music. But I just remember I was going to a writing session. We were writing R&J at the time because I go out to BC to record some of my music, and we were doing a couple Zoom sessions. So the first one we did was R&J, and we come into the next one, and I was coming into it completely different minded, saying, like, let's write something else. And then Shane and I were planning on going to, who is my partner, Shane is my partner, we were planning on going to a vacation to BC to go record this music. And it was Valentine's Day, and we had mentioned to the person that we were going on a vacation, and they didn't know where we were going. They didn't know we were going to record music. They just were like, oh, you know, this person is going to go on a nice romantic Valentine's Day vacation with my ex. F you, right? And so we got, like, a bunch of comments and stuff that were just, like, really inappropriate. And I went into this session, and I'm not a mad person. Like, I'm a very kind, loving human being. I only get pissed off at somebody if you give me a reason to. And Ryan was even like, I've never seen you like that. Like, that's a very aggressive side of you that I'm curious to explore. And I was just like, okay, sure. So I said, you know, like, we came up with all of these things. We talked about the situation. We wrote the song. And then I was just like, oh my God, we're writing about it. And, like, I was genuinely terrified because I didn't want to release a song and stir up more drama. Like, that was, like, the last thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to stir more drama, but I also didn't want to negate my feelings. Yeah. Like, your feelings are valid. And if one person is allowed to share their feelings, why isn't the other, right? So I was like, well, if they're sharing their feelings, well, I'm going to share my feelings. And, but it was like my producer just genuinely had never seen that side of me. And was like, let's write about it. And Lexi's a very much, like, bad bitch energy, like, let's write a powerhouse song. And it just worked out really well, and the song ended up being great. But fun fact, Shane, my partner, actually does background vocals in the song. And he's just laughing every time he does it because he's like, bitch, I'm his boyfriend. And he just laughs and he'd stop and be like, I'm sorry, I have to take a moment. And my producer would be like,
cute.
why? And I'm like, it just hits close. But that's the thing. It's a very personal song. To everybody on the outside, it just seems like a fun, like, bad bitch anthem.
Yeah.
To me and my partner, it was like a really shitty time for us, and it sucked. It was like, everything is good now. Thank God everything is just, like, well, calm. The storm has been subsided. That's but, good. Like, in that time frame, like, a few years back, I was just like, oh my God. And I honestly didn't release this song right away either. I held on to the song for a couple of years before I put it out. Because again, I didn't want to stir the pot. And I also didn't want to put it out when I was still emotional about it. Same with my partner. I didn't want to put it out when we were emotional about it. So yeah, that's all the fun facts about that song. But yeah.
So did you find when you put it out, since it was further away from the situation, was it kind of, you were able to separate it?
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, when I made the music video for it, it had nothing to do with the situation at hand. Like, I just was like, I came up with a really funny idea based off of Avril Lavigne's Girlfriend music video. And I was like, oh my God, it would be so funny if I'm just like me trying to like destroy me's life and like make it really funny and make us fight over my partner. And but I disassociated myself from that because when I put it out, like, I looked at my partner, I said, I really hope that this doesn't have any like bad backlash with the situation. Mm-hmm. But I said to myself, like, I am far past that. It has nothing to do with that anymore. Yes, the sentiment, the feeling of that was written from that situation. Mm-hmm. But now going into it, releasing it, it's not an emotional song for me anymore. It's just something that I'm like, it's a really good song. It's a banger and it's fun and the music video is hilarious. And overall, it's just like a good song to sing along. And I think a lot of people can relate to it. Not so much with like being gender fluid, but like having an ex that just tries to get in the way. Mm-hmm. I think it's a pretty common thing where it's like sabotaging relationships and stuff like that. So yeah, it got disassociated from all that and came more into the sense of like, it's just a song. Mm-hmm. Which I think for artists, that's like the best thing when a song just becomes just a song to you. Because the minute you take away that like emotion connection to it, like, yes, obviously it's your music, you want to be connected to it, but the minute you take away that association, which it is your baby or it has to be like something super emotional, is when you actually can properly promote it and properly like announce it to the world, in my opinion anyways.
Yeah, I find when especially listeners who don't know you personally and like met you recently or after the situation that you were going through and have no idea what it's about, it's the lyrics are so like relatable. Yeah. And I find like as artists we connect every little thing like specifically to the inspiration and what we wrote it about, but then when people are listening to it, they connect it to situations in their
something totally different. Something totally different. No, 100%. Like, I've had people come up to some of my songs, like to me, and say about some of my songs, being like, "Oh my God, I really like felt this about this situation." I was like, "Yeah, that was like a love song." But okay, like they're like, "Oh my God, it broke my heart. I was like so like upset over this situation in life," and I'm like, "That was supposed to be a happy one." Okay, all right, cool. As long as you can like touch someone's heart and like inspire somebody. It doesn't matter who it's for. And that's, again, like, I think disassociating yourself from the emotional connection to it, because then you can just allow yourself to make music for the masses as opposed to, no, it has to be this or it needs to be a certain type of way. Which I think some artists do get stuck in that. It's my baby. It has to be like, or it needs to be interpreted
in the way that I wrote it.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And that's something that I've slowly started to let go of, that not every song's a hit. Not every song is going to be like incredible to everyone. Like some of my favorite songs that I've released have been not resonating with anybody. And I'm like, but it's such a good song. And I'm like, to me it is. But to some people, it's just like, yeah, it's another song, right? Mm-hmm. So like disconnecting yourself from like the emotional story it comes from, it'll help you mentally. It helps you mentally. But
and I find, well, for me, so when I put my EP out, I have one song on the EP. It's called Long Sleeve Shirt, and it was very emotional for me to write and very emotional for me to record. Yep. And when I put the EP out, I wanted to include that song because of the story. Yeah. And
the arc
and the arc and all of that. But looking back on that song, I don't think it's a great song. It's a good song, but it's not a great song. Like structurally, it's not. It's like more structurally experimental, and my favorite part of the song happens at the end. And so if you don't listen to the whole song, you don't get to that part.
Which, unfortunately, most people don't.
Yeah. So if I could go back, I would have held on to it and either not released it or rewritten it.
Yeah.
Maybe I still might rewrite it, but I agree with what you were saying about how sometimes it can be very useful to wait until the emotion is not as strong.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. Well, and that's it, right? Like I said, I could have released it and made it malicious. But that's not what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't want it to be malicious. And it was something I had to talk with my partner about, because I was like, I don't want to release this and have them feel, like, bad. Yeah. I was like, even though they hurt my feelings and they made me feel bad, I'm going to be a bigger person and not try to make someone else feel that way, because that's not who I am and that's not what I represent. Mm-hmm. And when I wrote it, it was more of just like, I need to let out this steam. And it wasn't particularly, it didn't have to be about this person, but that was what, you know how as artists we write about what's going on in our lives in that moment. Nothing else was going on other than this. So I was like, I don't have anything else to write about other than this situation, and it's taking up 95% of my brain. So like I had no other inspiration, and that's the thing, like you never mean it as a malicious thing. So when I held it, I even said to my partner, I was like, I don't want to release this right away because the wound's still fresh. Mm-hmm. I'd rather wait until everything's calmed down and everything's kind of past. And then a couple of years later, if they're like, why did you release that song? I'd be like, honestly, it was just a good song. And like, I don't want you to listen to it and assume that it's associated with you. Mm-hmm. Just assume that it was associated with a feeling of a situation that had me heated, I guess. And, because that's the thing, as artists, there's a fine line. You know, you can use your voice. Like there's some people like Doja Cat who will literally just shit talk their fans or shit talk the people in their life. Then there's people like Taylor Swift who like make it without, like, shit talk people without shit talking them at all. But then there's that like happy balance where like you don't want to say something poor about somebody to hurt someone in your song. Yeah. But everybody writes about their exes or their shitty people that they have in their life, or you know, their parents or whatever, you know, you write about all that. Some of the songs I've heard people write about their exes, I'm like, bro, you're harsh. You name drop too. Like, I would never do that. But yeah, it's just, you gotta take away the emotional connection. And that's the good thing with the production process. It takes a long time to make the song, master the song, make the videos, and actually have a rollout happen to a point where you're like, all right, this song, I've heard it 7,000 times. It doesn't spark that emotional, like, you know, feeling. But yeah, there's some beauty behind that. The connection, like, it's cool. I listened to Wish You Well, which is a very heart-wrenching song for me. I wrote that at probably, like, one of the lowest points in my life. And even though it's funny because it's all about, like, wishing the person well, even though I was an absolute mess. But I listen to that one every now and then and tear up because I'm like, I have disassociated myself from that song and that situation, but when I listen to the words, it just like triggers an old brain, and I'm like, ooh, good song, but I can understand why it triggers people, you know. But that's it. Like, you can disassociate and then you can reconnect with it later down the line as well. I'm sure I'll listen to this song in like 7 years and be like, what a ridiculous, silly time. Like, what a silly song to write about, or what a crazy concept, because the amount of like controversy on the song too is just hilarious, because they're like, what is it, bitch, I'm his boyfriend, and I'm like, okay, sit down, kids, we're gonna have a lesson. But like, you get a lot of the people who are like, damn, this is a banger, and they don't care about the words, or they're like, oh my god, gender fluid anthem, you know.
I feel like the words and the play on words is what part of what makes the song so good.
Well, and that's it, right? Like, some people think of it and go, wow, like, you're empowering people with like not gender norms, and you know, you're doing something that's cool.
It's like you're saying, like, I'm the man.
Yeah, and like, that's it. But then you also get the other side of which, not gonna lie, I don't associate with those people. Like, if they, like, not that I don't agree with people who have their own. Exactly. It's not like I don't appreciate everyone's opinion. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. Everyone's allowed to say what they feel. I might not always agree with it, but like I would get all the people who'd be like, yes, gender fluid queen, like let's go, like hell yeah, I'm trans and this speaks to me. But then I'd also get like the conservative assholes who are like, this isn't allowed, you shouldn't be saying this is disgusting, you're a woman. And I'm like, gosh. Those people filter out pretty quick and easy, but like I knew, and even the girl who I wrote this with, Lexi, she's like, I'm upset that this song didn't hit higher in the stream count. And I said, to be honest, I had a feeling. It's a touchy subject. There's a swear word in the title, so like already Spotify's like, push to the back, like social media.
It has an explanation.
I know, but social media wouldn't even let me promote it. Like I wasn't even allowed to promote the music video. And it sucked because I released this song that I was like, so good, but I wasn't allowed to really promote it because of the content and the nature of it all. It was very controversial. People either loved it or they hated it. And it's just like, those are things you also have to understand as well. Like, yeah, I can make cookie cutter shit that everybody will like, but it's also fun to make a song and I'm like, half the people are going to hate this song. I'm not going to be allowed to promote it, but the core people that do support it are gonna go hard. No F-bombs. But the people that support it, they're gonna stream it. Yeah. And I saw that, I saw who my real streamers were and the people who really support me, because this song didn't really get picked up by many playlists. It didn't get picked up by the things that promote you because, again, nature of the content. It just doesn't, it's family friendly. It's not family friendly, So I got to see, where my actual engagement lies. It's pretty good. Pretty happy with it. The people who love it, love it. The people who hate it have no problem telling me they hate it, but.
I love writing sad songs. Can't go wrong with a sad song, but happy songs are so hard to write. Like even just songs with that upbeat, powerful vibe. So do you have any, what do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah, what do you do?
Honestly, okay, so that's the thing. I always say, for me, like a lot of my songs naturally have sad content. The wording or the meaning or like the actual sentiment behind the song is sad. In my eyes. To some people, they're like, wow, that was such a happy song. And I think it's a good testimony of who I am as a person, because like I am externally happy, but internally I'm a sad sack of shit. I'm just like a mess all the time. But I just say like optimism is always a good thing to think about when you're writing. Like, so for me, like the way I look at it is I can write a sad song, but how can I look on the bright side? I can make it a fun beat. So then I'm writing sad songs with a positive beat that kind of are a cool interaction, and like they fight off of each other, but they also like kind of collab really well. Because honestly, I always want to put like an energetic feel to my music. I always want people to feel like they can move to it, they can jam out and listen to it. Even if the content, like Happy Pill, for example, that's a song about like being mentally unstable, like very mentally unstable. And I was like, I want to make it Billie Eilish, like bad guy vibes. I want people to still be able to move and sing and dance to it. But like when they actually sit there at home and listen to it, they're like, oh shit, this is like depressing, So I just say like go into it with the mentality of like wanting to put an optimist twist on it. Mm-hmm. Because it's easy to write a sad song. And it's easy to talk about all the things that are hard in life. But what if you switch that around? Like, you can talk about how hard it is, but what if you overcome that? And what if you become bigger than that? And that's just my mentality. Like, I don't even realize I'm writing happy songs. Like, for me, I would say all my songs are sad, but they're not. But I just go into it with an optimist mentality. And I'm just like, I just want it fun, upbeat, dancey. And it's really good to have a producer who can do what you want them to do as well. I don't produce. Like, I'm a singer-songwriter primarily. I can do a little bit of production. I can do a little bit of instrumental playing and whatever. But I hire people to produce because I don't enjoy it. It's not what I like. It's not what I do. So when I look at my producers and go, okay, I want it to be like this reference, and I play like this uppy top 100 song, and they're like, oh, you're okay, sure. And they make it happen. So they make it happen. But you have to mentally like pre-plan what you're going to do. So I think, being an optimist and like mentally plan that you're going to write a happy song. And the minute you start to feel it turning into a sad song, you got to switch up that mindset again. Mm-hmm. It's all about your mind. It's all about your mind.
I was thinking yesterday before bed, I was just like writing things and writing down ideas. And I had kind of like a realization of like, if I were to imagine like writing a chorus of a song that's just like, life sucks, everything is terrible.
But you can still make that. People do. I even have a song that has like the chorus is just like, I'm not okay. Like I'm working on a couple demos where like the choruses are just a simple statement of like, everything's awful. Yeah. But when you listen to it, you're like, oh my God, I'm empowered as hell, you know?
Like, I'm not okay.
I'm not okay. Yeah. And I think that's also something that's like a good thing to think about. It's okay to not be okay. It's all right to not be 100%. And I need to practice what I preach because I get depressed very easily. And it's funny. My followers are telling me the thing that I'm telling them when they're like sad. I'm like, it's okay to not be all right. Like, you don't have to be 100% all the time. Meanwhile, they're coming right back at me and be like, it's okay to not be all right all the time. And I'm like, thank you for regurgitating my words and shoving them in my face. I appreciate you, but also F off. No, but like, it's also like the mentality of like, yeah, you can talk about how shitty life is, but it's like, perfect analogy here. They say it takes more muscles to smile than to frown, right? Takes more effort, or is that opposite? I think it's the right, or
it takes less muscles to smile.
Less muscles, yes. Okay,
but I have a resting bitch face, so if I relax everything, it's like I'm not smiling.
But no, so they say it takes more muscles or less muscles to smile and more to frown. So think about it that way. It's easy to just write about shitty things and talk about how crappy life is. But it's even easier just to like look on the bright side and be like, okay, life sucks. And you're only hurting yourself. Like if you're talking about sad things all the time, it causes you more pain. It takes more time, more effort. It feels easier, but long term, you're just going to be like, oh, I'm sad. But like if you just write about happy things, quality of life is better. You're just happier and everything's sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. To bring that back. Bring it all full circle.
Even just like listening to upbeat music when like I don't know about you, but when I'm sad, I want to listen to sad music and it just makes me more sad.
I'm the same
and
way.
Sometimes it's just like oh yes,
I wallow in it. And honestly, like I love listening to sad music when I'm really sad. And there's nothing wrong with writing sad songs. Everybody always has this thing of like, I want to write happy songs or I want to write sad songs. Write whatever the hell your heart wants to write. I don't think there should be, like, some people base a career off of sad songs. Some people base a career off of songs about their exes. People base careers off of the way they feel and their consistency of what they write about. Mm-hmm. If you want to write sad songs, write sad songs. If you want to write happy songs, write happy songs. But like when I'm sad, I want to wallow. I want to feel as sad as I possibly can. And then I draw inspiration from that. And then again, I like to look at it with an optimistic attitude. So I write these gut-wrenching, heart-destroying lyrics. And I'm like, but put a riser on it, you know? Like, make it have a drop, you know? Because that's what I like. And that I listen to EDM music a lot. So I like to have uppy, dancey music. But I also love songwriting. And I think the best emotional stuff is sad. So, like, you do you. You live your best life. You write what you want to write about. But yeah, you just write about whatever you want to write about. Feel sad, feel happy, get dark, why not? But also don't stay there. Don't linger in a sad place. Because, as soon I'll listen to sad music when I'm sad, but there comes a point where I'm like, okay, I need to get out of this hole. I need to like put on some Avicii or something. And then I get sad that Avicii's dead. And I'm like, no, turn it, Tiesto, let's go, put it on. you know what I mean? But you got to be in control of your own stuff and your own mind and your own words. And that's, again, what it like comes down to. It's your words. It's your music. You are in control of that. Just don't dig yourself in a place where it's like endless sorrow. Yeah. Because it sucks to live like that.
And you're not even going to like your songs.
Well, that's it. Because then it's just triggers. Like everybody will say, that song just triggers me. And then like even, like I said, Wish You Well still triggers an emotion out of me. I've moved on. I've grown past that. I've been able to like move forward with my life. But it still hits a spot that I'm like, oh, that hurts. And I don't like to revisit that place because it wasn't a nice time. So I just take it for face value, feel it for a moment, and then say, okay, now let's listen to R&J. You know, like something to make me nice and happy. But yeah.
I'm definitely an overthinker, especially when it comes to, like, unless I'm in a flow and I'm writing a lot, then it's great. But then if I'm not writing a lot, then I put so much weight into every single song, and I'm like, oh, this is a bad song. This is a bad song. No, this is an okay song, but I don't like it anyways. And it's like I overthink it so much instead of it just being like, yeah, I wrote a song today.
That's what it's got to be. So one thing I've set as like a goal for 2024 is to do more writing. I try to do a writing session like every day, whether that's with somebody, by myself, on a TikTok live or whatever. I just write whatever I'm feeling. And there's no wrong answers. There's no need for it to be the next single I release. It's just lyrics on paper. And sometimes I pull out one of my instruments. Sometimes I pull like inspiration off of YouTube. Sometimes it's a feature that somebody's asked me to write on. Sometimes it's just like random word garble. And then sometimes I'll post it online. And it surprises me because sometimes I'll find something that's really, really good. And I'm like, okay, now I'm going to work with that and I'm going to write a song and that's going to be the next single. And then other times it's just like a random crap that I wrote. And I'm like, yeah, it's good, but like, I doubt I'm going to do anything. And I think I've stopped being so personal with my writing. Like I've realized it's a career and it's a job and I have to do it whether I'm in the mood or not. And that's a hard thing. That's a very hard thing to disconnect from is, you know, I want to write because I'm inspired, but also like I want to write because I would like to make money. And I'd like to write hits, whatever. But yeah, it's like when you go into a songwriting session with somebody, you don't know what you're going to write about. You don't know if you're writing for yourself. You don't know if you're writing for someone else. You don't even know if you're going to write anything that day. And that's fine. It's totally okay. And in my opinion, like, don't ever overthink writing. It's creativity. The fact that you're showing up, you're writing something, that's all that matters. Who cares? If it's not a good song, throw it away. Cool. Or save it for later because who knows, maybe one of those lines. I listened to like old recordings of like songs I wrote as like demos on my phone the other day. And I was like, whoa, everything about this is garbage. But there's one line that I will take out of this and I will put it into something else because that's a killer line. And that's it. Like go into it, again, optimist outlook, I guess, but go into it with the concept of I'm just writing for the sake of writing. I'm writing because maybe it'll be something, maybe it won't. And don't overthink what you're writing about. Never overthink that you are going in with a specific topic either. I wrote a song last week, I think. And I went into it thinking I was going to write about a situation that's going on with my family right now. My dad actually had to get his leg cut off. Yeah, which was like huge. And my dad's a really strong human being. And I wanted to talk about like how strong my dad is and how much crap life has thrown at him and how he's always come on top of that. And I was like, that's just like what's inspiring me today. That's what I would like to like let out and verbalize. I ended up writing a song about coming out. I wrote a song about coming out as like a lesbian when I was in high school or whatever, and when I found out I liked girls. And it's just like, as much as I wanted to be like, damn it, I really wanted to write about this, the song that I wrote was really good, and I actually think that I'm gonna do something with it, because I really, really like it, and people seem to really like it too. I posted it on my social media, but that's it. Just like don't have any pre-expectations, because as soon as you do, you're already hindering your writing, already hindering what could come out. Just write. Doesn't have to be good. Doesn't have to be what you thought it was going to be. Doesn't have to be anything. Could just be like, we'll fix it in post. You know, it can be simple, 5 words, whatever. You know, just write. Just write for the sake of writing. And if you feel like that's like an issue, just write every day. Literally take a half an hour out of your day and just write about whatever the hell is in your little brain, because that'll help. That'll do wonders. But yeah, so that's my best recommendation for anybody who's like an overthinker. Not like just don't overthink, because like obviously that's not a thing, but you know, do it more. The more you do it, the less you'll overthink, and I can guarantee you that. It's the same thing with social media. I was telling you before we started this. I used to take so long to make a video, upload a video, edit the video, whatever, because it would be like take after take after take. And then I'd be like, I don't like it, do something different. Now I can do it in like 20 minutes and be like, yeah, this is great, because I do it every day now. I'm literally just doing it for the sake of doing it. And I don't post every video I record. I don't post every song I write, so just keep going, keep doing it, and do it for like shits and gigs, as opposed to this has to be something.
On the topic of social media, how did you go about building your following?
Consistency, I think. I mean, my social media is lacking, in my opinion. Like, everyone seems to think I'm like so active and I'm doing so well on social media. I get it all the time from all my artist friends. They're like, you're so good on social media. I'm like, what do you mean? I suck at this. Social media has not been a strong suit, but I'm trying. And I've built a following just from like raw authenticity. Like, honestly, consistency, authenticity, just making a raw connection with the people that follow me. Like, I try to comment everything back to someone. Like, if I get a comment from someone, I always try to respond. If someone follows me, I try to say thank you for the follow. I don't typically follow back because I hate social media. I'm not going to lie. Like, social media is one of my least favorite things. So a lot of people are like, why aren't you following me? And I'm like, because I don't use the platform other than to post things and like to communicate with people. So I try to be as like interacting as possible on there, and I try to, create raw connections with my fans or with my friends or other artists or whatever. But it's a business. Again, it's like you got to disassociate the fact of it being like part of just something to do and more of make it a business. So start learning about marketing, take courses about it. Like, I have sat through many mentorships and programs to learn about social media, and slowly but surely I've grown. I may have not have had anything hit like viral yet. I say that yet because it's gonna happen. But I've never had anything go viral, but I've had a very good, slow, steady incline since I started my social media accounts. So it's just putting in the work, being consistent, connecting with your fans and your audience, and doing things you like. For me, all my content is like geared towards music, food, fitness, and my family, and including my pets. And you can tell that that's what I love, that's what I care about. And obviously you have to gear it to a way where people will interact and you can get those sweet spots. But do what you love, do it a lot, connect with those people, and it'll all work out. It'll all happen. And stop worrying about the numbers. That's something I'm telling myself right now. I'm so worried about like how many likes or views or follows or whatever. I'm losing followers. Doesn't matter. People are not following you or leaving your following. Pardon my French, but F them. Get them out of there. You don't need them, right? They're not supporting you. They're not doing anything to help you or benefit you. Now, obviously, if you're doing something wrong, you have to reflect on that and learn. But yeah, just do it for you and try to communicate and connect and stop worrying about the intangible things that you don't control.
One thing I really like that you've been doing recently is the Are You Okay stories.
Yep. I love it's so fun. I started that as like just a little, I started that for me. Weirdly enough, everybody's like, do you ask that for like people or do you ask that for yourself? And I was like, I ask that for myself. When I ask everyone on my stories if they're okay, it makes me forced to reflect on if I'm okay. And it's a simple yes or no question. Like, I started doing that. I was doing it every day. Now I do it every few days. I don't always do it every single day. But it sparked a song. It sparked a really cool concept for an album. A lot of people seem to really love it. It's something that like the most people interact with on my socials. And people have like thanked me and just been like, yo, this is a really nice thing. But my favorite question by a friend of mine I got was, can you put like a kinda in there? And I said, no, it's a yes or no question. Are you okay? Yes or no. I said, it's fine if you say no, because yeah, sometimes you're not. That's fine, as we discussed earlier. But like, it's a yes or no question. There's no sort of, one of my teachers in school used to say that, you're not kind of pregnant. You're pregnant or you're not, right? But yeah, it's had a really good reception, and like it helps my people who follow me, and it's developed some really nice connections. And it also just gives me a little bit of an into the universe of the people that follow me. Like I get to see them a little bit more authentically and hear about their stories, because it opens a discussion of like, here's why I'm not okay, or here's why I'm doing really good. And I'm like, sometimes I'll just send hearts and I'll just say, you know, I hope you're feeling better. And it'll spark a conversation just to be like, can I talk? Can I tell you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm an open book. Like, please, like, communicate. I would love to be there for you, because if I didn't have anybody who supported me when I was in my shittier times, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. So, you know, when I have people who say no, I always try to be like, oh man, I hope it gets better. If I have the time. Obviously, if I don't have the time, I can't. But I send hearts, or I just say, you know, everything good, anything I can help with. And some people have just opened up their hearts to me, and others are like, I will be okay. Like, I just need some time or whatever. Or they'll message me the next day and be like, I'm good today. And I'm like, yay, okay, cool. But yeah, it's just, it creates a really nice vulnerable spot for me and my fans. And people feel like they can just press yes or no and not feel judged, not feel like, you know, it's not too serious. It's just like a daily check-in, which I think we all should do every day. I started journaling, and I have like a mood and pixels thing now. And it just like genuinely forces me to wake up and be like, okay, how do I feel today? Like, honestly, am I depressed? Am I happy? Am I energetic? Am I sick? Am I tired? What is it? And it's good just to check in with yourself and be like, A, am I okay? And B, what can I do to be okay? Yeah. But yeah.
Like when we see other people, oftentimes we'll be like, hey, how are you? But it's not a real question.
No, it's not authentic. It's like, yeah, I'm good. How are you? Like, it's just like a quick, it's small talk. It's small talk. Exactly. And that's the thing. I didn't expect it to be such a big deal. Like anytime I post an "Are you okay?" compared to like any other story, that one is the most engaged with. Like I have so many people responding. I have so much engagement to a point where I'm just like, people need this. I have to. And I almost was only going to do it like a couple of times. And I started doing it every day. And then when I didn't do it every day, somebody would be like, hey, are you not going to ask if we're okay today? And I'm like, oh, you know, I've started something now. But yeah, I try to check in every couple of days with people and check in with myself and with everyone else. And it's just been like, it's a positive. I haven't received any negative feedback on it. And like I said, it stemmed ideas for songs. It stemmed an idea for an album. I definitely think it'll help grow my following as well. And not to say like, oh, I'm doing it to gain followers.
Building community.
Yeah, exactly. It's to build a community and to create an authentic fan base, right?
Very cool. So you mentioned earlier that you do a lot of artist development things and are very involved in that. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah. So for me, like, as an artist, I've done a lot of artist development. I think every artist should do artist development. You know, I've taken a lot of mentorships, a lot of programs, classes, and like everything. I try to involve myself in as much as I can, because you can never stop learning. Mm-hmm. You can never stop growing. You can never stop, like, you can be a certain way for a certain time, but you need to kind of revisit that kind of stuff. It's like it's like a workout. So you can do the same workout over and over and over again, and it'll do something for a few months. But after you kind of get used to it and your body adapts to it, you need to switch it up a little bit. So as an artist, like, I am very, very, very fond of just like developing, taking some time off, learning about yourself as a person, see where you've changed, where you've grown, what's your brand. And for me, like, I started with a mentorship with a couple of artists who geared me in the right direction. And then I did another mentorship program a couple of years later that pushed me in a different direction. And that's exactly what I needed. So for me, like, I work with a lot of new artists and emerging artists and people who are just kind of discovering themselves. And that's something that I really care about, because if I can help you kind of figure out, you know, yourself as an artist, but also like learn about the business, learn about everything in the back end, because, you know, we have to wear a million different hats, like social media, business, marketing, publishing, booking, releasing, recording, writing. Like, we have so many different jobs, and I don't think people realize how many jobs we have to do. And then when they say, I want to start making music, they don't realize that they don't get to just write the music. They have to figure out who's producing it. Then you have to figure out who's mastering it, who's distributing it, who's promoting it, who's marketing it in the radio world or in the playlisting world, you know? How are you doing it on social media? You know, who are you collaborating with? Like, there's so many things, right? So, and then not only that, you also have to build yourself as an artist. You have to figure out, who's my audience? Who am I making music for? What am I writing about? What's my genre? You know, and there's a lot of people who will tell you, you know, you have to be this way, or you have to do this, or, you know, you'll get steered in a lot of directions. You'll get people who try to mess you around and give you the wrong type of advice just to benefit themselves, which is ridiculous. As a person who has been screwed over, it's not fun, and I never want to see that happen to somebody, right? So, you know, understanding contracts and royalties and everything, like, there's so much to learn that, for me, I like to work with artists and just kind of give them like that crash course of like, here's what you need to know about royalties. Here's what you need to know about contracts. Here's what you need to know if you're doing features or sync placements, and how to properly brand yourself. How should you write a bio? Who are you performing for? What kind of shows do you want to do? You know, if you're performing, how are you performing? If you're writing, what are you writing about? Who's your target, you know? And then kind of working your way up from that, because it's like a pyramid. You got your base level, and you move up a step, and you got everything else after that, and after that, until you get to the top. But yeah, so I'm a firm believer in artist development. I think no matter where you're at in your career, any artist can develop. And I think it goes to show when you hear about an artist who tours for years, then they take some time off to make music. Then they take some time off completely, because you can't do everything all at once. Like Justin Bieber, he got on a stage, I think, for the first time in a year and a half last weekend at the All-Star game. Like, prior to he performed at History. He hasn't performed like for a year and a half. What has he been doing in that time? Probably making music, probably developing himself as an artist, or figuring out what he wants to do next. As an artist, no matter where you're at in your career, you always need to figure out what's happening next and what your big thing is. Or else you're lost. Or else you're just in space, you're lost. So for me, I do that for myself, but I also I work with other artists as a mentor and as a coach. I try to coach with performance and songwriting, because I want to see people develop, and I don't want to see people get screwed over, and I want to see educated people come into the industry and be able to, because for me, if I get signed, I know what I'm looking for. Or if I have a manager who's interested in working with me, because I'm fully independent, if I have somebody who's interested in working with me, I can make the call to be like, you're not looking for my best interest, you're just looking for yourself. Or if I get a deal or something from a DJ or producer, I can really look into that and be like, you're not doing something that's benefiting the song, you're doing it to benefit your income or your pocket, whatever. And I think that, or like if someone sends me a song and says, I want you to write this way, they might be impeding on the integrity of myself as an artist and say, I want you to write about this. How do you say no? Or how do you adapt to that and work in a compromise? So yeah, it's just like, you can never stop learning. You can never stop learning. So yeah, that's that. But I think that it's just a beneficial thing. Artist development, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Oh yeah. Do you have a piece of advice that you would give to a new artist, or something that you would give to your younger self when you were first starting out?
I guess to a new artist is educate yourself. Like I kind of just explained, just educate yourself before you get involved with anything that could potentially put you in harm's way, whether that be financially, emotionally, or physically as well. Know what you're doing and have some sort, talk to people about it first. Talk to other artists in your kind of vicinity that are at a similar level, or even that are at a higher level. Like I said, that's why I mentor. I'm that one step up from an emerging artist. I'm up and coming, as I would say. There's that emerging artist, there's the up and coming, and then there's that discovered artist. I'm in that nice little middle ground where I'm not really, really well known, but I'm locally well known. And I like to say I'm successful and I've done some really great things, and I'm proud of the work that I've put out, and I'd like to say I'm pretty educated and I'm pretty good at my job. But when you're a new emerging artist, surround yourself with people who are similar to what you're doing, but also look up to those people that are at that next level and reach out and ask questions. If I could tell myself anything as a younger artist, I would have said ask questions, network, get involved early. Don't waste your time, just get right into it. Because I spent years, I was an actor. I was doing musical theater, I was doing film acting, I was doing makeup artistry, like I was doing everything but the thing I wanted to do. But get involved, ask questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the people who are that one step above, because they're willing to help you. They're willing to give you their time. Like, I remember when I had my first mentorship, it was with Jordan from the Mono Whales. He's their drummer. And he actually sat with me during COVID and was just like, okay, here, I'm going to teach you everything I know. And then you can kind of use it to excel. And he even said, he's like, that was a really great success to watch you grow from what I taught you. And that's kind of what I do. And don't hesitate to ask questions, because people are always willing to help you. If someone's gatekeeping,
not someone you want to work with.
Exactly. They're awful. Like, don't gatekeep. Like, don't do that. You want to help the new artist, because who knows, that artist could be bigger than you one day and maybe get you your start. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. Tate McRae is only 20 years old. Who knows, like, who she met, who was, like, gatekeeping, and now she's like, not giving you any advice. But yeah, like, you don't know where they're going to go, and you don't know what you're going to get from it as well. But ask questions. That's the best thing you can do. Ask questions, educate yourself, and just do it. Just go for it. Nike has it right when they say, just do it. Just do it. Like, and that's the thing. I wish I would have done it a lot earlier. I wish I would have gotten involved in music way earlier in my life. I feel like I would have been much further, but you can't reminisce on what could have been, because it never happened. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm working with a girl. She's like 16 and she wants to get into music. And we had our first like little consultation where I was giving her some advice. And I was like, who are you trying to be like? Like, what's your influences, and what type of music would you like to make? And who would you like to perform in front of? And she was like, I never thought about any of that. And I was like, yeah, I know. Most people don't. They just think that they can write songs and sing and it's going to happen. And it took me many years to figure out that that's not how that works. Mm-hmm. So if I can cut out that middleman of like, oh, I don't know what to do, it's beneficial, right? Yeah, very cool, very cool.
I have two last questions to ask. First one is, do you have a music recommendation for our audience?
I do. Honestly, like, I've been really loving Rev lately. She's local. She's originally from Montreal, but she does a lot of work in Toronto. And I actually got to play the same festival when I played Pride. She was on the main stage. I was on one of the other stages. But she got famous with her song Control-Alt-Delete. Yeah, so she's the girl who sings that, and Headphones. And she started working with Banks and Ranks. And honestly, like, it's a big inspiration thing for me, because she makes similar music to what I do. She works with like DJs and producers similarly to how I do it, and does features and stuff like that. And then she has her own stuff that's her genre. Her genre is a little different than mine. Like, I'm more a little pop punk hardcore, and she's more like pop queen, like Lady Gaga vibes. But yeah, no, she's just got a great voice. She's incredible live. All of her stuff is super heartfelt, and she's dancing on stage. She puts on a show, and I just really like resonate with that, because when I perform, I like to dance, I like to move, I put on a show, and I see that from her. But I also see the authenticity and vulnerability that she puts into her words and into her songs. And then she does features and stuff, and it's nice to just see like a local succeeding. Like, even though she's from Montreal, she's from Canada, so she's still a local, right? And Montreal's not far from here. Like, you're still a local. But like, to watch somebody like that succeed and get signed and blow up so quickly, it's really inspiring. And I've had a conversation on social media with her once, and she was really nice. And I'm like, you know what? I would love to be put on, like, she's somebody I'd open for. If when you ask, like, who would you open for as an artist? She's somebody that I'd be like, her.
We're going to add that song to our guest recommendation playlist, so make sure you check that out. Also, of course, listen to Nicole's music. It's pretty awesome.
I'd say so.
The last question is, do you have any new projects or things coming up that you would like to plug?
Yeah. So right now, like I said earlier, I am focused more on social media and just like growing and building a fan base. I am currently working on an album, date to be determined. I'm working on a full-length album, and I'm trying to get some singles out to people as we go. I'm always working on features, so there will definitely be some features coming out. But there's nothing set in stone at the moment, because right now, unfortunately, some dates are up in the air, and as much as I want to release music, I also have to make sure I pay my bills, as you know. Paying your bills is important. So yeah, I've got tons of work on the way. I'm still doing features and co-writes and everything, and some shows here and there. But yeah, time will tell, and you got to stay tuned if you wanna hear it. But there is an album. I promise you that there will be an album coming out. Just takes time.
That is so exciting.
I'm very excited. I'm excited to have a body of work. But yeah, I just don't know when it's coming out.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This was really fun.
Thank you. I had a great time too, honestly. I always just love talking about music.
Too.
I like talking in general, but like music is just like a fun topic to discuss, and it's always interesting to hear other people's perspectives.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can't stop learning. So listen, learn, ask questions.
And thank you for sharing all of your advice and experiences, and also your song.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Bedroom Studios podcast. Don't forget to add this podcast to your playlist and to like and follow on social media. We're on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify at Bedroom Studios Podcast. And don't forget to follow our playlist of guest music recommendations, as well as the music our guests have created. Nicole is on all the social media. Her links will be in the description, so make sure to follow her on Instagram, TikTok. All of that is linked in the description. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next episode.